Episode number 168.
Hello, you're listening to the Career Changemaker podcast. Having the courage to leave a career that you have worked hard to build and try something else can be tough. So in each episode, we dive into key career change strategies so that you have a clear understanding of what is required to transition into a new role or a new industry without feeling like you have to start at the bottom or have to take a massive pay cut, because #ain't nobody got time for that. If you are ready for frank and honest discussions about how to become a career change maker, keep listening. I'm your host, lawyer turned career strategist and executive coach, Janine Esbrand. Hello. The one thing that you need in order to make a successful career change. I was co-hosting a Clubhouse room and some things came up in our conversation that made me really want to talk about this because I think it's super important. What is the one thing that you need to make a successful career change? Now, before I dive into what that one thing is, I want to talk about the approach that most people take. So if you are someone who's feeling frustrated in your role, if you are feeling like this isn't what you want to be doing, this isn't where you want to be, the likelihood is you're taking this approach. You might not be, but many people do. So you start looking at job boards, you start searching for opportunities, you start thinking about what you could possibly do that's different from what you're doing now. And perhaps you even saying to yourself, right, what I need to be doing is putting myself out there. I need to be updating my CV. I need to dust off my CV or my resume that is 10 years old that I haven't looked at for the last decade or I haven't looked at for the last 5 years. I need to update that. And I need to update my LinkedIn profile. And I need to get networking. I need to give this networking thing a go. Those are the types of things that people say that they should be doing. So when they're thinking about making a change, they jump to, okay, this is the action that I should be taking. I should be going out there, putting myself out there. If that's kind of the first thought that comes to you when you're saying, I want to be doing something different because I'm frustrated where I am, then let me know. But here's the thing. Here is the thing around that approach. If you are saying, I am not happy where it is that I am, I don't want to be doing what I'm doing right now and I want to do something different, and you're not really clear on what that different looks like, jumping in and saying, I'm going to update my CV, my resume, I'm going to update my LinkedIn profile, I'm going to get out there, doesn't really make sense. Why? Because you don't know what you want. And if you don't know what you want, how can you create a CV or a resume that is attractive to the type of role that you're going for when you don't even know what you're going for? How can you position yourself to attract opportunities if you don't know what opportunities you want to attract? So whenever I hear people saying like, okay, I'm looking for a new job, I'm putting myself out there, I'm updating my documents, I'm like, okay, so what are you applying for? And they say, I don't really know. I'm thinking maybe this, maybe that. And immediately, to me, that's a red flag. I'm like, okay, let's just slow down, because what's going to end up happening is you are going to be putting a lot of time, effort, and energy into putting yourself out there and applying for things. And you're not going to hear anything back. You're going to be submitting online applications that go into the internet black hole. And what that does is that knocks your confidence. What that does is it tells you, you think it's evidence that it's not possible for you to move. You think it's evidence that there aren't any jobs out there. You think it's evidence that people or companies are not hiring right now. And that isn't the case. It isn't evidence that they're not hiring right now. It isn't evidence that you can't move. It's just the fact that what you're putting out there and what needs to go out there are two different things. There's a misalignment between how you're showing up and how you are putting yourself out there in the market and the type of person who's looking for someone to hire within their organization. So what I want you to do, if you are thinking about making a move and you're not sure what that looks like, slow down, pause, don't even start updating anything just yet. There's a time and a place for everything. And when you don't do things in order, you end up sabotaging your results, because there's so many times where people are saying, well, I've been applying, I've been putting myself out there and I'm not hearing anything back. And that not hearing anything back can cause a huge knock to your confidence, right? You're like, okay, I'm not good enough. Like, I'm not marketable enough. I'm not the type of candidate anyone wants to hire. And that isn't necessarily the case. It's highly unlikely that that's the case. It's all about positioning. So before you even get to that part, before you even dive in and say, okay, I need to get myself together, I need to get myself out there, there's the one thing that you really need, a really, really important piece. So I'm going to talk about what that is. Are you ready? The suspense. The one thing that you need is commitment. Commitment. And I know you might be thinking, oh, Janine, I thought you was going to tell me like a specific thing that I need to be doing, right? A specific strategy that I need to be employing. And there are lots of strategies around making a transition and making one as smoothly and quickly as possible. But commitment to the process is the biggest thing. Commitment to actually saying, I'm going to make a career change so that it's not dependent on what the outcome looks like. It's not dependent on if you had some good feedback from someone. It's not dependent on you hearing back from a potential employer. Your willingness to stay in the game and stay in the process is not dependent on external factors. It's dependent on you and your commitment to making this change. Because if the commitment is not there, I can share with you as many strategies as possible. But if the commitment to making the change is not there, then the likelihood of you staying the course and you doing what is required to make this transition is going to be slim. So when I talk about commitment, it really comes down to you making a decision. Like, is this something that I want to do? Am I actually ready to make a career change? Why am I wanting to do this? And is this the time for me to do that? And once you make the commitment, then the action can follow. And it might be that you have to show up consistently for a period of time. But if you do something for long enough and you stay committed to the process and you're following the right type of strategy, you will get there. I actually shared this meme with a friend, a fellow business owner who's struggling with some mindset things around what she's doing and whether she should keep going with a particular project that she's working on. And I love this meme. I don't know if you've come across it, of the person who they are digging for diamonds. They're in a mine and they're digging. And you can see there's like two pictures. So at the top where they're digging, so you can see all of the rock that they have to like knock through. And then on the other side, you can see where the diamonds are. And in the top picture, there is a lot of rock, right? So that they are here, they're digging here, and there's lots of rock, and then the diamonds are over here, and they're really going at it. And in the bottom picture, it shows where they're going at it, and then they get to the point where they give up. And when they give up, the amount of rock, the amount of distance that there is between where they were and where they were hitting and where the diamonds were. So they started off like that and they were really going at it and going at it and going at it. And it got to a point where they just gave up. But when they gave up was at the very point that they were about to have their breakthrough, at the very point where they're about to get there. And I think that this happens a lot, whether you're talking about moving towards a particular career goal or whether you're talking about growing a business, whatever it is that you're talking about when it comes to goals that have been set that aren't necessarily easy to achieve. That can sometimes happen. It's like, okay, I'm going to go so far, but then when it gets to a certain point, I'm just going to give up. I'm just going to throw in the towel. And that is why I'm saying right now that the commitment is the one thing that you need to have success with a career change or any type of career progression. Because if the commitment is not there, when the going gets tough, when it feels hard, when it feels uncomfortable, when you feel like you're stretching yourself, that is when you're going to throw in the towel. So first and foremost, it's establishing and making a decision that I have a commitment to the process. It's really funny because I was talking to a friend. I've been talking about different things that I want to achieve in my business this year and where I want things to go and the goals that I have and the big audacious plans that I have. And every now and then, you get that whole like, oh, are you really going to do this? Are we really going to go there? And I had a friend call me and literally she saw me on a live stream and she was like, I saw you doing a live at 9 p.m. And she was like, I just want to tell you to keep going. Just keep going. Like, you're putting in the work, you're doing the work, and you're doing it because you have a goal and a mission in terms of the people that you want to impact and the people that you want to support. And she was like, just keep going. And I really, really appreciated that call, because the reality is when you're in the midst of something, when you're in the midst of building something, moving towards something, making a transition, it isn't necessarily easy. But if you have that commitment and that commitment is concrete, then you can go back to that. So in those moments where I'm like, this is crazy. Homeschooling, working, running a business, running a home, all of those things combined, it's just crazy. Like, how are we even doing this? However, I have made a commitment that I can go back to that really helps me to keep moving forward and keep doing the things that I know are required for me to get to where it is that I want to get to with my career. And so for you, I want you to really anchor in, I need to make that commitment first and foremost, because then the rest can follow. And one of the things that I think is important to talk about in this current climate where we are right now is that piece, because there's lots of people I speak to who say things like, Yeah, I do want to make a career change, but how everything is right now, I haven't got the focus, or I haven't got the motivation, or I don't even feel like now is the right time. And I get that. I'm totally with you with the crazy. I'm totally with you with all that's going on and how hard it can be to focus. But here is a perspective that I want to share with you that you may not have been thinking about. One of the biggest things that I hear time and time again, or one of the most common things that I hear from people who are saying they want to make a career change, is that they want to make more impact. They want to help people and they want to have more of an impact in the world. Those are two things that are common kind of motivators for people seeking out something different. So here's the thing. If you are sitting in your role that you're in right now and you're saying, this is not it, like me showing up every day to do this work is either boring, it's unfulfilling, I feel like I have so much more to give and I'm not giving, I feel like this isn't aligned with my values, I don't really like what this organization is about. If you are sitting in your organization and you are saying those things, I want you to know that you are showing up, spending a lot of time there, making a contribution there, when you could be making a contribution somewhere else and be moving towards making the type of impact that you want to make. So when we're talking about, I want to make an impact, I want to make a change, what does that even look like for you? Because the reality is, if you think about how the world works, if you think about the developments that we've had over the last 10 years, 20 years, in terms of technological developments, in terms of how the world has shifted in the way that we do things, what has caused those changes? Like, who has propelled those changes forward? Often it's led by companies. Often the change in the way that we do things, the change in the way that we see the world, the changes that happen in terms of how we interact is companies. So let me say some names like Apple, Microsoft, Zoom, Amazon, Uber. Like, think about those companies. Think about what they did and how they disrupted the marketplace. Think about how they changed the way that we shop, changed the way that we use technology, changed the way that we are connected. All of those things have come from companies. And when we talk about companies, it's a name, it's a founder, it's a CEO, and then it's a whole load of people. So the people that sit in positions of authority, the people that are making decisions within these companies, the people who are doing the work within these companies, those people are making a huge impact in the way that we do things and the way that we do life, right? So if you in your individual situation are just thinking, like, I'm in my role right now, I could stay here, I could move on, I know I want to move on, then I want you to really think about, what impact could I potentially be making if I was to take myself out of this environment where I don't feel like it's the right place for me to be, and I was able to put myself in an environment where I could be making an impact because the company is set up so that I could be making an impact. And also, I'm in a position where I get to leverage my skills, my experience, and my values so that I can make a unique contribution to a cause, to wider society, or what it is that what we're trying to achieve. So when you think of it like that, it isn't a small thing. Like, making the decision whether or not you actually want to figure out what's the right thing for you to be doing, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. I know that there's lots of things that people are thinking about, but if you think about the potential that you have to really do something awesome and really do something great and really impact people, it can come via the work that you do. It can absolutely come via the work that you do. And so you have an opportunity to look and see, well, how can I align what it is I want to achieve and the impact that I want to make with the work that I do? And if that's a commitment that you want to make, if you're committed to saying, I don't want to show up every day, I don't want to spend the hours upon hours upon hours just doing stuff for the sake of doing it, but I want to know that the work that I'm doing is counting. I want to know that it's making a difference. If that's you, then it's important for you to spend time figuring out what your career change looks like. And look, we were just talking on this Clubhouse chat about the future of work and what it's going to look like, and how post-COVID, things are going to look different. There's going to be shifts, there's going to be changes. We've already seen changes happening. And those people who are willing to innovate, who are willing to adapt, who are willing to look at different ways of doing things, those are the ones who are really going to succeed and rise both inside organizations and in industries in general. So like, is that you? Are you that type of person? Rather than being passive and just saying, well, I made a decision 10 years ago to follow this path, so I'm just going to continue down this road, even though I'm not happy. Is that going to be your approach? Or is it going to be like, well, now is a perfect time, as everything is all up in the air and everything is crazy. Now is a perfect time for me to figure out what I would ideally like my next move or my next kind of direction to look like. And if you're saying, yeah, now is a great time, then are you making the commitment to really explore that, is the question. And I know when it comes down to making a decision around what should I be doing, I'm going round in circles. I don't even know what kind of company I'd want to work for. I don't even know what type of role I'd want to do. I don't even know what that looks like. I get it. It's like going round in circles, asking yourself the same questions, getting the same answer. I don't know. And that is why I am a huge proponent of, and an advocate of, using data to make decisions. And we have a whole framework within my program, which is the data framework, which helps you to look at, like, what do I desire and what is really aligned, and what would my transition plan look like, and then how do I attract the right opportunities. So we're looking at that DATA, because when you're looking at things from that perspective, rather than just pie in the sky, like, what can I be doing? It makes it so much easier for you to, one, make informed decisions, and for you to really show up and do things in a strategic manner. So if we think back to the beginning, where I was saying a lot of people are just approaching it where they're just like, oh, I'm just going to put my CV out there. I'm just going to put out my resume. I'm just going to update my LinkedIn profile, before you even know what it is that you want to do. Taking that approach is risky, because you could just end up somewhere else where you're not happy, and you're still saying this isn't it. Whereas when you take a data-driven decision and a data-driven approach, and that data is really coming from you as a person, what's important to you, your values, what's aligned, what kind of company you need to be working for, what type of role you need to be doing, what type of work you need to be doing to be happy. When you're able to make that kind of progress and have that level of understanding, targeting the role is so much easier. And then creating a recruitment campaign that is super duper targeted is so much easier. So you're going to have a lot more traction when you're taking that approach. So I just want to encourage you that if you are someone who's been saying for a while, I need to make a change, but yet you're settling right now and you're not taking any action, then I want you to know that if that has been like uncomfortable for you, if there's been some tension, like some resistance, like, oh, I want to do something different, but I don't know if I can, or I don't feel like I can, or I don't want to start at the bottom, I don't want to retrain, I don't want to take a pay cut. Like, there's all these things, all these reasons why you can't. If those things are coming up for you, but yet still the thought keeps coming to mind, you're sitting on that conference call and you're just like, oh, this is not what I want to be doing. Or you see other people getting promoted ahead of you and you're saying, I have so much to give, but this company is not recognizing what it is that I have to offer. Those are just a couple of things that come up for people. If that's you, then the likelihood is that the feeling of dissatisfaction is not going to go away. It's just going to be there. So your choice is either like continually going back to that feeling and then feeling like, oh, I should be taking action, but I'm not. And then a year goes by, 2 years goes by, and you're saying, I should have done something already, but I haven't. Or you just taking the bull by the horns and just saying, do you know what? The world is crazy. I don't even know what's going on. But I know for me, I'm going to make a commitment and a decision to transition into a role that allows me to show up fully, allows me to make an impact, and allows me to use my strengths and my skills and my experience to really make a difference to my environment, my team, the wider community. So you have a choice. You have a choice in everything. But I want to encourage you that the one thing that you really need is not updating things. It's not scrolling job boards. It's not that. It's commitment. It's commitment to the process. It's commitment to figuring out what this role needs to look like for you. It's commitment to putting in the work that's required. Because on the other side of that, you get to show up and enjoy your work. You get to be one of those people who actually love their work. I know a lot of people just feel like, well, work is work. You work every day and then you live for the weekend. But why? Why? When it is possible for you to design the type of lifestyle that you want. It is possible for you to enjoy the work that you do and make an impact through it. So that's all I have for you. Take care.
This episode is sponsored by the Career Changemaker program. Are you ready to make a change in your career? Are you tired of coasting in a role or career that is no longer a good fit? Are you ready to create more impact, feel more fulfilled, and earn more money from the work that you do? If you are nodding your head and what I shared resonates with you, then lean in because I want to share more with you about the program. This is my signature coaching program that is designed to help you to identify and make your next best career move. I created this program because I recognize that too many amazingly talented women are missing important direction and strategy for their career development and advancement. In the corporate world, there is an unspoken, invisible playbook that determines how you should maneuver to experience the type of career satisfaction that you desire. The problem is, so many women have the playbook with a few pages missing. And if you have pages missing, you're in a position where you don't know what you don't know. And if you don't know what you don't know, how can you fix it? So I really want to help you. Let me help you fill in the gaps so that you can understand exactly what is required to take you from where you are now to where you want to be in your career so that you can feel fulfilled in the work that you're doing, so you can be excited about the work that you do, and so that you can feel the impact that you're making through the work that you're doing on a day-to-day basis. Make your application to join the Career Changemaker program today by heading over to www.careerchangemakers.com/program, and I look forward to hearing from you.